So you know the labor shortage that everyone's been freaking out about? Well, it turns out there may actually be an easy solution. With one of the big problems being that some companies and hiring managers are hesitant to let go of outdated practices that exclude nearly 2/3 of applicants. Because we're talking about college degrees, or rather those who don't have a college degree. Because among other things, according to federal data, college enrollment's been on the decline for a while, dropping 15% over the last decade. And a lot of students are just deciding to forego college for a variety of reasons, right? Including the astronomical price tag, colleges shutting down, dissatisfying returns on getting a degree. And because of that, only about 38% of Americans over the age of 25 actually have at least a bachelor's degree, meaning that the remaining 62% rely on non-traditional training or experience when applying for jobs. That group, they're often overlooked or outright dismissed because of their lack of official education. And that's despite the fact that work experts have been warning about a long-term labor shortage for years. Baby boomer retirements, low birth rates, shifting immigration policies, these are just a few factors in the perfect storm that is quickly leaving the US with too few workers to fill job openings. Now that said, some companies have decided to broaden their minds. IBM, Google, Walmart, Medtronic, and GM have all eliminated the degree requirements from hundreds of their job listings, instead choosing to lead the movement for skill-based hiring, right, where employers evaluate the candidate based on their skills and experience rather than education. With that, you have IBM Vice President of Growth and Development, Kelly Jordan, saying, if you're putting unnecessary requirements on jobs, you're automatically removing 62% of the population that could apply. And the removal of this often unnecessary requirement has allowed for a number of employees who don't hold degrees to progress their careers further than they would have. Like, for example, Benita Robinson with Medtronic. She finished one semester of college and worked mostly in retail until finding a better fit as an assembler at a Medtronic components factory outside of Minneapolis. They're rising through the ranks and working her way up to a team lead position, but then having no expectations of actually being able to move up further, because supervisory roles demanded a 4-year degree. That is, until Medtronic removed that requirement, which then allowed Benita to apply and get the job. And so she now oversees several production lines and makes 40% more than she did as a team lead, which then makes you wonder just how many employees or applicants like Benita were previously overlooked or locked out of promotions and raises. And that's despite having the ability to fill vacant leadership positions. And it's not just factories or tech. We've seen skill-based hiring implemented across many different industries. Delta Airlines, for example, by 2021, 94% of the jobs that Delta filled did not require a college degree. And one of the only positions that held onto that requirement for longer was the coveted pilot role, with Eric Hendrick, Delta's director of pilot outreach, saying, the supply was always larger than the demand, so no one saw the need to change it. But as the demand for air travel and cargo flights surged, so has the need for pilots. And because of that, by January of 2022, Delta removed the 4-year degree requirement for pilots, allowing for people like Rene Rodriguez, who wanted to fly for Delta for years and had years of experience with other airlines, to pass his assessment. And he actually piloted his first Delta flight last year in September. And so now, according to Hendrick, of the 7,500 applicants for pilot positions, Delta has interviewed 150 that don't have degrees. And of those, 70% were offered positions, which was nearly the same rate as applicants who did have a degree. With Hendrick saying there's no trend that shows anyone with a college degree doing better than anyone without a degree in any of our assessments. But while there are some success stories since companies have relaxed degree requirements, according to a new report from Burning Glass Institute and Harvard Business School, progress is slow, with the share of jobs that actually went to those people only increasing by 3.5%. And according to that report, even though that barrier doesn't exist anymore in many places, other factors are slowing down real change, with that including automated systems that favor applicants with higher education, as well as real-life hiring managers who are hesitant to change things up, with Joseph Fuller, a management professor at Harvard and co-author of the report, saying, all these companies are doing is removing a prohibition. So the hiring manager is not saying, oh, we should now be moving affirmatively to hire someone on a skills basis without relying on credentials. They're saying, if our favorite candidate has no BA, we're no longer prohibited from hiring them. And that's despite the fact that, according to Fuller's research, employers in most major industries have found that people who don't hold degrees, they are just as likely to outperform degree holders as the other way around. But it's outdated mindsets and picky automated systems that have overlooked many candidates who would be perfect. We're talking about people like Melanie Argol, where she dropped out of college when she couldn't afford it anymore. But since then, she's gotten several digital marketing and IT certifications. But even with that training and years of retail management, she keeps hitting walls trying to break into IT and project management, saying the people choosing candidates, they're missing so much in people like me. But ultimately, for now, that's where we are. We're gonna have to see how, I guess it's not even the situation, how society as a whole and the business space in general develop. But regardless of which side of the table you've been on, if you've been doing the hiring or you're just doing, like, you're just trying to get a job, I'd love to know your thoughts here.